You stupid black. You think saving some random old white man makes you a hero? Morrison hissed, her voice sharp, cold. You people are like dogs. You don't belong in our university. You skip exams, beg for handouts, and then cry racism when we kick you out. Get your black ass out of my office, out of my school. Go back to the streets where you belong. Emma's heart stopped. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, completely numb. Her scholarship folder, 4 years of straight A's, endless nights studying, every ounce of blood, sweat, and late-night sacrifice, was now lying in shredded pieces in the trash. She wanted to scream, to say something, anything. But all that came out was a choked sob. I was saving his life, Emma whispered, her voice trembling. Silence, the dean snapped. You don't get to speak here. Not in my office, not in my school. Now leave. Emma turned slowly, her legs barely holding her. She walked out of the office, humiliation weighing down her shoulders like a physical burden. Outside, the hallway seemed impossibly long. Every student she passed looked at her with a mix of pity and discomfort. Some whispered, some avoided eye contact entirely. Emma felt smaller than she had ever felt in her life. She couldn't believe this was happening. After everything she had done, after risking her own life for someone else, this was the thanks she got. Before we dive deep, I want you to know we will keep making videos that promote peace, unity, and that fight racism. Every like and comment help grow this community. Please hit the subscribe button right now. Thank you, and God bless you. Now let's get back to the story. 3 days earlier, Thursday, 7:23 a.m., Emma's phone alarm screamed through her tiny apartment. She jumped out of bed, almost tripping over her backpack. Today was her nursing 401 final exam. Late entry? Not permitted. 37 minutes until the exam started. Emma threw on yesterday's scrubs. They were dirty. She hadn't had time for laundry. She grabbed her backpack, her hands still shaking from the lingering memory of her mother, Sarah, who had died of pneumonia when Emma was 9. Emma couldn't forget the day her mother had been too scared to go to the hospital because of bills. She clutched a small photo of herself with her mom, whispering, "I'm going to make it, Mama. I won't let this happen to anyone else." She ran out into the cold November morning, the streets of Market Street packed with commuters and cars honking. She could see her bus approaching, Route 21, just 2 blocks away. But then she saw him. The man slumped in the parking lot, blood everywhere. Everyone else just stared. Phones out, recording, judging, not helping. But Emma knew she had a choice: run to class and take her exam, or step up and try to save this stranger's life. And she ran. Emma reached him just in time. His breathing was ragged, and the blood soaking her hands was cold and sticky. She shouted at the bystanders, "Don't just stand there. Call an ambulance, now!" Using every bit of knowledge from her nursing classes, she applied pressure to the bleeding, stabilized his neck, and kept him conscious. She could barely think about the exam, but she ignored the clock. Every second counted. Every second could mean life or death. The ambulance arrived. Lights flashing and sirens screaming. Paramedics rushed out, and Emma tried to follow them in, insisting on staying to make sure he was stable. When they asked if she was family, the man simply said, "Yes, she's my family." And that was how she ended up at the hospital, still covered in blood, still exhausted, but determined to make sure the man she had just saved would survive. Before she left for school, the man scribbled a note for her. Just her name, her school. A simple thank you. But Emma felt like the universe had acknowledged her courage. Emma raced to school. her backpack slung over one shoulder, scrubs stained, hair messy. She barged into the dean's office to submit her excuse, but Morrison was not having it. "You stupid black. You think saving some random old white man makes you a hero?" Emma froze, remembering the shame. The public humiliation, the ripped papers. The word stung, but inside her, something else sparked. A quiet fire. She wanted to fight back, but the dean's voice, dripping with contempt, silenced her. The office door slammed behind her as she left. She stood in the hallway, broken, humiliated, wondering if all her sacrifices had been for nothing. And just when Emma thought her life couldn't get any worse. 3 days later, something completely unexpected happened. Something that would change everything she thought she knew about justice, power, and karma. Before we continue, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. And tell me, what would you do if your entire future was just destroyed in front of you? Would you stay silent or fight back? Because what happens next, no one saw coming. Emma walked out of Dean Morrison's office, each step heavier than the last. The hallway seemed longer than usual, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like they were mocking her. Students passed by, some staring, some whispering, and a few pointing. Emma felt invisible and exposed all at once. Her scholarship was gone. 4 years of straight A's, sacrifices, and sleepless nights thrown away because she chose to save a human life. She clutched her backpack tighter and headed to the nearest bench outside, shivering from the cold November wind. She sat trying to breathe. Her hands shook uncontrollably. She could still feel the warmth of the blood on her scrubs, the weight of responsibility that had nearly crushed her that morning. Her phone buzzed. Notifications from classmates, some asking if she was okay, others laughing at the news she had missed her exam. She stared at the screen. The world had moved on, but for her, nothing would ever feel the same again. Emma walked the streets of her city, numb. Memories of her mother flooded back. Sarah had been scared of hospitals because of the bills. Emma had sworn she would make it her life's mission to help people, no matter the cost. Yet here she was, humiliated and punished for doing exactly that. A group of students walked past, laughing and pointing at her scrubs. "Did you see her? Blood all over her clothes." "What a mess," one whispered. Emma didn't respond. She just kept walking, feeling the familiar sting of being judged by the color of her skin. She ducked into a small cafe to warm up. Sitting by the window, she pulled out the photo of her mother. The reminder of why she fought, why she sacrificed, why she chose morality over grades, brought tears she couldn't stop. Word spread quickly across campus. Emma's act of heroism, and the dean's ruthless punishment, became a whispered story in classrooms, dorms, and even the cafeteria. Some students admired her courage quietly. Others ridiculed her openly. By mid-afternoon, a few professors had begun discussing her case in hushed tones, but no one stepped in to defend her. Emma's friends tried to call her, offering support, but the humiliation made her retreat further. She didn't want pity. She wanted justice. The tension built, a heavy knot in her chest, because deep down, she knew this wasn't just about one exam. It was about systemic racism, prejudice, and power. Things she had faced her whole life. Emma returned to her small apartment. The city streets now dimly lit and wet from a late drizzle. She sank onto her bed, still in her scrubs, staring at the ceiling. Questions tumbled in her mind. Would she ever finish nursing school? Would anyone understand why she did what she did? Could she face the dean again without breaking down? Her apartment was quiet except for the distant hum of traffic. The silence gave her space to think, and as her mind replayed the morning's events, a new resolve began forming. She wouldn't let them break her. She had saved a life. That mattered. And somehow, someone would know. 3 days passed in a blur. Emma tried to focus on classes she hadn't yet missed, but her scholarship revocation loomed over her like a shadow. Then she noticed something strange. Small hints. Phone calls she didn't recognize, emails from unknown addresses, messages left at her apartment. At first, she ignored them, thinking it was spam. But each note, each call, hinted at something bigger. Someone had noticed her bravery. Someone important. Cliffhanger. As Emma went to check her mailbox one cold evening, she froze. Sitting there was a plain envelope with her name, in handwriting she didn't recognize. She opened it, and inside, just one line. You've done more than you realize. Be ready. Emma's heart raced. What could this mean? Who could have sent it? And more importantly, what was about to happen next? Comment below if you've ever been humiliated for doing the right thing. What would you have done in Emma's shoes? Don't forget to like and subscribe, because what comes next will completely change her life. The envelope Emma had received sat on her kitchen counter all morning. Its paper was thick, almost luxurious, and the handwriting precise and deliberate. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a single typed line. Your courage hasn't gone unnoticed. Watch closely. No signature, no indication of who it was from. Emma reread it several times. Her mind raced. Was it someone from the hospital? A news reporter? Or could it really be the man she had saved? She tried to focus on her studies, but her eyes kept darting to the envelope. Something about it felt urgent, almost like a countdown ticking in the back of her mind. At school, Emma's reputation was now a mixture of admiration and ridicule. Students whispered in hallways, some openly mocking the blood-covered hero, others in awe of her bravery. But it wasn't the normal chatter that unnerved her. It was the way people's eyes kept darting toward her, phones in hand, typing and sharing. By mid-afternoon, she noticed unfamiliar faces in her classes, people recording, taking photos. She felt exposed, watched. The dean's office had become a looming presence in her mind. Even her professors treated her differently now, some with guilt, some with barely concealed contempt. Every glance, every whisper, ratcheted up the tension in her chest. Emma knew something bigger was coming. She just didn't know when or how. That evening, Emma logged onto social media. At first, it was just a few mentions, hashtags she didn't recognize, small posts talking about the brave student who saved a man covered in blood. But within minutes, the numbers exploded. People started sharing videos from that morning, snippets from bystanders' phones. Emma's face, her scrubs, her hands, everything was online. Comments flooded in. Who is this girl? Incredible courage. Did the university actually punish her for this? Unbelievable. This is exactly why we need more heroes like her. Emma sat frozen. She didn't know whether to feel empowered or terrified. The scrutiny was intense, and yet she felt a spark of hope. Maybe someone would notice the injustice she had suffered. Late that night, as she returned home from a long shift at her part-time nursing job, Emma noticed a sleek black car parked across the street. Its windows were tinted, but she could sense someone inside, watching her. Her heart pounded. Was it a stalker? Another student playing a prank? She quickened her pace, her backpack swinging. But when she reached her apartment, the car didn't leave. Then the envelope again, slipped under her door this time. This one had a note that read, "Prepare yourself. Change is coming. You've earned it." Emma's hands were cold, her stomach twisted in nerves. Someone knew her, someone powerful. But who? Cliffhanger. She couldn't sleep that night. Every sound outside her window made her jump. And then, at 3:17 a.m., she heard it. The distinct whir of helicopter blades slicing through the night sky. The next morning, Emma woke to her phone blowing up. Local news outlets had picked up her story. Headlines screamed, "Student saves life, expelled for heroism." University punishes bravery. Controversy erupts. Hero student covered in blood. What's next? The story went viral overnight. Friends, family, even strangers began texting her, offering support, sharing links, and commenting about the injustice she had faced. Emma was overwhelmed. Part of her wanted to hide, but another part, the part that had saved a life without thinking twice, felt ready to face whatever was coming. Her phone buzzed incessantly. She didn't recognize the numbers, but each message carried the same tone: urgency, validation, and the hint of intervention. By mid-afternoon, a man called her directly. He didn't introduce himself immediately. The only thing he said was, "Emma Bradley? You don't know me, but I know you. I saw what you did, and I need you to trust me. Come to 27th Avenue, alone. Be ready." Emma froze. Her first instinct was fear, danger, scams, traps. But her gut told her this was different. She could feel the weight of destiny pressing down on her. Her thoughts raced. Could this really be the man she saved? Could this be the moment that changes everything? Cliffhanger. Emma hesitated at her apartment door, the winter wind biting at her cheeks. She took a deep breath and whispered, "If I go, will this be the start of something I can't turn back from?" She stepped outside, and the camera panned toward the distant sky. In the background, barely visible, the shadow of a helicopter hovered, slicing through the clouds. A silent promise that the next 24 hours would change her life forever. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe, and comment below. What would you do if a stranger you saved suddenly appeared in your life in the most unexpected way? Stay tuned, because what happens next will shock you. Emma woke to the distant roar of rotor blades slicing through the early morning sky. Her heart raced. At first, she thought she was dreaming, but then, the unmistakable shadow of a helicopter hovered above her apartment building. She ran to the window, heart pounding. Her street was empty, but the helicopter descended carefully, landing gracefully in the small yard beside her building. Her eyes widened as the door opened, and out stepped a man in a tailored suit, older, calm, and commanding. It was him, the billionaire she had saved. For a moment, Emma froze, unsure if this was real. He approached, walking with purpose. Around him, the media already seemed to sense something big. Cameras rolled, smartphones flashed from neighboring buildings. The man, the billionaire, stopped in front of her. His eyes held gratitude, respect, and something that felt like a silent promise of justice. "Emma Bradley," he said, his voice steady. "You saved a life without hesitation. Now, it's my turn to help you." Emma wanted to speak, but found herself overwhelmed. She stammered, I didn't do it for anything in return. He raised a hand, cutting her off gently. "I know. That's why you will win this. But first, we go to your university." Emma's mind raced. Her dean, her destroyed scholarship, her humiliation, the news that had already gone viral. She nodded, fear and anticipation twisting inside her. The helicopter lifted and moved across the city, Emma seated beside the billionaire. Media outlets seemed to materialize out of nowhere, their cameras pointing upward as the helicopter descended onto the university lawn. Students stopped mid-step, eyes wide, mouths agape. Professors spilled into the courtyard. The dean, Patricia Morrison, stepped out of her office in her designer suit, her face frozen with disbelief. Whispers erupted through the campus. "Is that a helicopter? Who's that man with her? Emma, what's happening?" Emma gripped the billionaire's arm, her pulse racing. The courtyard felt like a stage, the entire university audience waiting for what was about to unfold. Dean Morrison's eyes widened as she saw Emma descending from the helicopter. Her perfect composure faltered for the first time. "Emma, what is this?" she stammered. Emma stepped forward, bloodied scrubs now replaced with a clean jacket, her head held high. The billionaire followed closely, exuding power and authority. "This," the billionaire said, "is someone who saved my life. And instead of honoring her courage, you humiliated her, ripped apart her scholarship, and destroyed her reputation. That ends today." Students gasped. Phones rose in every direction. Cameras clicked. "Dean Morrison," the billionaire continued, "the world is watching now, and the world does not tolerate injustice against those who do the right thing." Morrison's face turned red, but she couldn't speak. She realized that her words, her power, her arrogance, all of it, had crumbled in an instant. By now the courtyard was packed. Students, professors, and news crews surrounded them. Someone shouted, "Is she really the girl from the hospital?" The billionaire handed Emma a folded document, her reinstated scholarship, a full tuition coverage for the remainder of her studies, and a public statement of recognition for her heroism. "You see," he said to the crowd, "this is what true courage looks like. And it deserves acknowledgement, not punishment." Emma's eyes welled up. Relief, disbelief, and joy collided in one moment. The media captured every second. Phones streamed live. News channels reported it as breaking news. Student hero confronts university with billionaire's help. Courage overcomes racism. Emma Bradley's story. Expelled for saving a life, reinstated with full honors. Emma, still trembling, finally addressed the crowd. "I didn't do this for recognition. I did what I knew was right. And sometimes, doing what's right isn't easy, but it matters." Her voice grew steadier as she continued. "To anyone out there who's been judged, humiliated, or told you don't belong because of your skin, your background, or who you are, stand up. Someone sees you. Someone knows your worth. And the world eventually will too." Cameras captured the tears rolling down her face. The courtyard erupted into applause. Students were whispering, sharing the live feeds, reposting her quotes. Emma realized, finally, that she wasn't alone. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Emma's phone buzzed. Another message. Simple. Cryptic. "This is only the beginning. Watch carefully." Her stomach tightened. What could it mean? Was this just the first ripple of something much larger? The morning sunlight hit the university courtyard, but the energy on campus was electric. Emma's story had gone fully viral overnight. News vans lined the streets, microphones and cameras pointed at every entrance. Reporters from multiple networks had flown in, live streaming every angle. Emma stepped outside, flanked by the billionaire, who had become her quiet protector throughout the ordeal. Students and faculty paused in their tracks, staring, whispering, taking videos. Social media feeds were exploding. Rush hero student, justice for Emma, yes, university shamed. Even from her apartment, Emma could see the screens flickering in windows across the city. The attention was overwhelming. She clutched her backpack tighter, the weight of reality hitting her. The world was watching now. Dean Patricia Morrison arrived at the scene, escorted by her assistant. Her usual confidence was gone. She tried to compose herself, but the moment cameras caught her face, the public humiliation began. Reporters immediately shouted questions. Dean Morrison, why did you expel Emma Bradley for saving a life? Do you believe race played any role in your decision? Her answers faltered. Every word sounded defensive and insincere, fueling outrage. Students began filming her responses, posting clips instantly online. Within minutes, the dean's words were trending. Headlines were merciless. University dean humiliates hero student, faces backlash. Racist and arrogant, Dean Morrison under fire. Emma watched quietly, processing the magnitude of it all. She had survived humiliation before, but this was something else. Justice wasn't just personal now, it was public. The billionaire stepped forward, addressing reporters and students alike. His presence was commanding. Cameras zoomed in as he spoke. Emma Bradley risked her life to save mine. She acted with courage and integrity, values that should be celebrated, not punished. I've personally ensured that her scholarship is reinstated, her tuition fully covered, and her academic record remains untarnished. The crowd erupted. Phones recorded every word. Social media lit up with praise and admiration for Emma. She felt a mix of relief, disbelief, and pride. The injustice had been exposed, and the power structure that tried to suppress her courage was crumbling. Within hours, internal investigations were launched. Emails, recordings, and eyewitness accounts were leaked online. Dean Morrison faced disciplinary hearings. Faculty and administration staff began distancing themselves, worried about their own reputations. Emma's friends and classmates, once hesitant, rallied around her publicly. Posters, hashtags, and live streams highlighted her bravery. The university community was split, with some supporting the dean reluctantly, but the overwhelming public sentiment was clear. Emma was right, and the dean had been wrong. By midday, Emma stood on a temporary stage set up in the courtyard, the billionaire by her side. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling but strong. I didn't do what I did for recognition. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And sometimes, doing the right thing isn't easy, but it matters, and it will be seen. Students cheered. Cameras flashed, live broadcasts captured every second. Emma's heart swelled. The humiliation, the fear, the doubt, all of it felt distant now. She had been vindicated. Her courage was now celebrated publicly. Alone later in the day, Emma sat quietly, reflecting. Her hands still shook slightly, but not from fear. This was from adrenaline and relief. She remembered her mother, Sarah, and whispered softly, "Mama, we did it. I didn't let fear stop me. I didn't let anyone tell me my worth." For the first time since the ordeal began, Emma allowed herself a genuine smile. Tears slipped down her cheeks, but this time they were tears of triumph, not humiliation. The city woke to headlines plastered across every screen. Hero student vindicated. University faces public backlash. Emma Bradley, courage in action. Dean Morrison steps down amid outrage. Emma sat on her balcony, sipping coffee, watching news crews swarm her campus. She felt a mixture of exhaustion, relief, and disbelief. The events of the past few days felt surreal, almost like a dream. But every memory, every tear, every moment of fear had been real. The billionaire appeared beside her, calm, composed, holding a briefcase. He nodded at her with quiet approval. "You did more than anyone could have expected," he said, "and you handled it with grace." Emma managed a small smile. I just did what I had to. I never expected all of this." "Sometimes doing the right thing shakes the world," he replied. By mid-morning, the university had announced official actions. Dean Morrison was placed on leave pending investigation. Public statements condemning discriminatory practices were released. Faculty members implicated in undermining Emma were reprimanded. Students flooded social media, sharing the news. Emma's story was no longer just a viral video. It was a movement, a message about standing up, integrity, and courage. On campus, small acts of solidarity emerged. Students started mentoring programs, awareness campaigns, and scholarships named in honor of Emma's bravery. The billionaire organized a small public gathering in Emma's honor. Reporters, students, and community members attended. Emma stood on stage, dressed simply, her nerves steadied by the familiar presence of the man she had saved. "Today is about courage," she began. "It's about standing up when no one is watching, and knowing that integrity matters more than fear. I never expected recognition, but I hope that by sharing my story, it inspires someone else to act, to fight, and to be seen." The crowd erupted into applause. Camera flashes illuminated her face. Social media erupted again, with viral clips spreading across the globe. After the event, the billionaire took Emma aside. "Because of you, I've had to rethink a lot. People who underestimated you and underestimated the consequences of their actions now face accountability. I've also realized how much influence I can use to change lives, not just make money." He handed her a folder. A formal scholarship grant, opportunities for mentorship, and support for her nursing career. "This isn't charity. It's acknowledgement of your courage and skill," he explained. "And the world needs more people like you." Emma's eyes welled with tears. "Thank you. I don't even know what to say." "Say this. Keep saving lives, keep fighting injustice, and don't let anyone tell you your worth," he replied. Just as she thought the night would end quietly, her phone buzzed with a new notification. Another message appeared, this time with only a single line. "You've awakened something bigger. Be ready. The world will know your story soon, in ways even you can't imagine." Emma stared at the screen, heart racing. Questions flooded her mind. Was this another challenge, another test, or an opportunity beyond her wildest imagination? She whispered to herself, "If this is just the beginning, I'm ready." If Emma's story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe. Comment below. What would you do if your bravery suddenly changed the course of your life? And stay tuned, because what happens next is bigger than anyone could imagine.